Good evening, everyone. It's late afternoon, the ninth day of Av, and I wanted to share this story with you that I think is an awesome story. It's an amazing incident that occurred going back about 28 years ago when I lived in Crown Heights. And this occurred just a little bit after the race riots broke out. It was actually, if the race riots broke out in August of 91, so this was in 92 and June of 92. Okay, so you're talking, about 10 months after the riots occurred in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where we lived. We had already formed Project Cure. That's our racial harmony group. See communication across the nation. Let's all sit down and have a conversation. You understanding, I listen to you, you listen to me. We can work things out in harmony. Respect each other's feelings, respect who you are, respect each other's cultures, and we'll all go far. E for education, a point of elevation. It keeps on going, even after graduation. So that's the CURE. We already had Project Cure. We were bringing our African American participants and Hasidic participants for dialogues, and that turned into basketball games. That turned into multicultural events, and we formed a music group, which is known as Dr. Laz and the Cure. You can look us up on YouTube and check out some of our tunes and stuff. We are still alive and kicking it today, thank God. But anyhow, here's the story. I think it's really appropriate. Mind-boggling story that happened. So it's June in 1992. And I get a call from State Senator Marty Markowitz. He was then state senator. He would go on to become borough president. Super guy, awesome guy. Real go-getter and a real walk the walker. He had all these incredible activities, and it was really, really excellent. I hate to use the word politician because usually you think somewhat negatively of the term, but he was a doer. He was a real doer and a hardworking guy, and brought people together for lots of really awesome activities and did a lot of good for the borough. Anyhow, I get a call from him in June 1992, and you're going to see why this story is going to boggle your mind, because to this day it still boggles mine. And you'll see how it's totally relevant to today, which is Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. For those of you who might not know, who are listening to this, the 9th day of Av is the saddest day in the Jewish calendar. All these different tragedies occurred to the Jewish people, including the destruction of the first and second temple. We are eagerly awaiting the building of the third temple. It may happen speedily in our days, when that will usher in what we used to call the age of Aquarius, or the Messianic era, an age of prosperity, peace, goodwill, harmony amongst all peoples on the planet. And so we're looking forward to that. Never give up on that dream of the age of Aquarius. Anyhow, Marty Markowitz calls me up just to give you a little bit more of a background on what the 9th of Av is. It actually began about 3 weeks prior to this, and this is a period known in the Jewish experience as the 3 weeks. Okay, because it is 3 weeks, we're supposed to diminish in joy, diminish in physical pleasures. Many people don't listen to music, they don't play music, they don't go to concerts. I mean, now everybody's not going to concerts, but that is this in this 3 week period. You don't make weddings. People have a custom not to eat meat, especially when the last 9 days of this period start with the Hebrew month of Av. So the 9 days becomes even more strict. And then even the week that Tisha B'Av falls in, that becomes even more strict. It gets stricter and stricter as we come to the 9th of Av, which is a fast day. The fast began already last night, a little bit after sundown, and we'll conclude tonight when the stars come out, which is just about 2 hours away. So just to give you a little bit of a background on this particular time period. And so Marty calls me. I'm working up at camp. My wife and I, my kids are up at Camp ACH, Avram Chaim Heller, good old Camp Heller, for those of you ACH fans out there, and up in the Catskills. And he says to me, Laz, I know about your group and everything. We had done some activities together that Marty sponsored. And he said, so listen, in the summer, I sponsor all these free concerts. And I would love for your band to open up for one of our free concerts. So I said, that sounds cool. Give me some more details. And the free concert was Gospel Night in Brooklyn. Okay? And coming to a nice Jewish boy like me to open up for Gospel Night, right? So I was like, sounds cool. Give me some more details. So he said, the concert's going to feature BB and CC Winan, the Winans, very famous in the gospel world, and also Al Green, who I was very familiar with, Grammy Award winner. I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright by me, 'cause you made me feel so brand new. Right? Al Green, Reverend Al Green. And so anyway, I always liked his music, so I'm thinking, wow, my band's going to open up for Gospel Night. We're going to open up for Al Green. Oh, heck yeah. So Marty says to me, yeah, it's, this was the beginning of, this was the end of June. And this was going to be towards I believe it when that year was the end of July. So we had about a month to go. And I said, awesome, we're in. Count us in. I called everybody up in the band. I called Reverend Paul Chandler. He's my co-singer in the band. He says, oh, yeah, let's do it. I call up Bernice Boom Boom Brooks. She's the drummer, African-American drummer. She says, I'm in. I call up Yudi and TJ, our hip-hop freestyle dancers. They're in. Call up our keyboard player. I call up everybody in the band. Everybody's in. Everybody's psyched. Okay, about 10 days goes by, and I look a little bit more carefully at the calendar. Well, guess what? I look at the calendar, and it's not just during the 3-week period when we're not supposed to even listen to music. It's not just during the 9 days when it gets stricter, right? There's no swimming then, right? And people don't eat meat, unless you conclude a tractate of the Talmud, then it's a special occasion. But in general, it's getting stricter and stricter as we approach this day, the 9th of Av. And it was like this year, Tisha B'Av falls out on Wednesday night, Thursday. I believe it was the same that year. I'll have to look it up. But at any rate, it was a weekday, and it turns out this concert was Erev Tisha B'Av, or the night before the fast. I'm thinking like, oh my God, this is crazy. There ain't no way that I'm going to be allowed to do this. And first I'm thinking, well, maybe I can just sneak this one by. No, the word is going to get out. They're going to find out that, that Dr. Laz and his whole group, performed, and this is disgusting. How dare they do such a thing? It's against Jewish law, blah, blah, blah. And I realize it's out of the question. I call up Marty Markowitz, again, who was state senator then. And I said, Marty, look, I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry. I can't do it. We can't do it. And he was like, what are you talking about? We already made posters. We put you guys are on the billboard, and, the whole bit. You're opening up for Al Green. This is Gospel Night in Brooklyn. What's the story? And I told him, I said, this falls out the day before Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. And I said to explain to him what the 9th of Av is in the Jewish cultural experience. He says to me, I know, he's Jewish. He says to me, I'm Jewish. I know what Tisha B'Av is. I know what the 9th of Av is. I know it's a fast day. And he says, well, why don't you call up, ask your rabbi? And I said to him, Marty, come on, I'm going to look so like a fool. It's like, hey, it's Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish year, and I'm a little bit thirsty. Is it okay if I go to Starbucks and get, a caramel frappuccino? Is that okay? This was the same sort of like, is it okay if my band plays. We were only going to do 4 songs, so we had like 20 minutes. He said, okay, if we, not just play music, but do this big concert. By the way, Marty said there's going to be between 5 and 10,000 people there. Free, concert, the great Al Green, etc. So I told Marty, I said, Marty, I'm going to look like a fool. He said to me, just ask your rabbi, okay? Maybe they know a little bit more than you, and maybe it's okay. So, I thought, okay, fine, Marty, I'll ask. But in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to ask, but it ain't going to do any good. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, fine, Marty, I'll ask. So I call up, and I'm not going to mention any names until finally I call one rabbi who says to me, I don't know, I don't want to tell you no, because maybe there's an idea of, for Darchei Shalom, which means to bring peace, greater peace to the community, to Brooklyn, to New York, to the world, bring peace. So maybe there is such a room to say that. Anyhow, I called Rabbi Azdaba in Crown Heights. He is on the rabbinical court. He's one of 3 rabbinical judges in Crown Heights. He was my teacher in the yeshiva in Morristown. I've always had tremendous respect for him. I call him up, and he says to me, "Okay, let me examine it. Let me look it up. Let me do some research, and get back. I'll get back to you. Give me till tomorrow. All right." So in the meantime, he said to me, you could write into the Rebbe for a bracha, write into the Rebbe for a blessing, and call me tomorrow. And I'm thinking, like, wow, I wasn't just out and out dismissed. You idiot, of course you can't do such a thing. That's ridiculous. All right? That's what I was thinking. Because what do I know? I didn't study. I'm not like this great Talmudic rabbi, I'm just little old me, but I'm thinking that I know enough to say no, right? So at any rate, I call him the next day, and he tells me, he said, I think if there is any possibility of you guys sharing your message, which is, he questioned me, what are your songs about and everything. I said, everyone is a positive message. Everyone is talking about, increasing the peace and increasing compassion. And I hate to use the word increasing tolerance, because that's ridiculous. If somebody says, oh, I tolerate you. Oh, wow, thanks a lot. That's a really high level there. I tolerate you too. So tolerance is, like, to me, the low level on the totem pole. It's the low rung of the ladder. But our thing is like fostering peace and goodwill and good vibes. And so we get this. And by the way, I'd gotten a response back from the Rebbe. And the Rebbe said we should do it, and it should be with great success. And Rabbi Azava said to me, now I don't remember whether it was the Rebbe or Rabbi Azava, but it doesn't really matter, because you'll see. I said, so I can really go? I should really do this? And I'm sorry, I don't remember whether it was the Rebbe or Rabbi Azava. But the response was midoraisa, which means there is no question about it. Literally, it means from the Torah. In other words, it's not like even the rabbis have to discuss it. This year, you 100% have to go if there's a possibility of bringing more peace to the community at large, and to the city at large, and God knows where else, to the flipping universe. So we got the green light. The Rebbe gave a big bracha to do it. This is the day before Tisha B'Av. So this is the 8th of Av, nighttime. And then Rabbi Azaba added, he said, when you're done, you have to pack up and leave, okay? You can't stay to listen to the concert. So I told my guys, pack up slowly, pack up slow. Okay, I didn't really, but we unfortunately we did have to pack up and leave. We did catch a few songs. It's not an easy job to pack up for an entire band. We didn't have exactly roadies at the time, so we were our own roadies. And just want to tell you how the story really concluded, and there's probably no end to the story, as you'll see. So Reverend Chandler, Paul Chandler, who is my co-director on Project Cure and my co-singer in the band, so we're now in front of 10,000 people, this big outdoor venue in Brooklyn, right in Crown Heights, and we were the opening act. So Paul gets up and he starts speaking about how we're all one family, one God made us all, and God wants us to get along with each other, regardless of what our small differences are. And then he introduces me. Now he thinks, well, he knows me better, so I won't say what he thinks. He probably knew what I was up to, but the crowd certainly thought that me looking the way I do with beard, my kippah on my head and everything, that I'm going to reiterate the same words as Reverend Chandler. You know, here comes Rabbi Laz. He's going to say, we're all one family of man. We're all have a spark of divinity within us and these nice things. I get up there, I grab the mic, and the drummer kicks in this funky, rap beat. Kicks in this rap beat with a bass drum and a snare drum. And I start saying, I know it's been said about 1,000,000 times before, but change don't come easy, so you got to know the score. You're looking for a friend, a lifelong brother. You can't judge a book by looking at the cover. And when I started, I promise you, this roar went up from the crowd. People went crazy. It was like, I think, our biggest, most exciting concert ever. And we do this thing about that it's called working together is the way to be. That's how we survive through history. Do the mitzvahs because it's lots of fun. The peace will reign and the world will be one. And when I say do the mitzvahs, Paul interrupts me and he says, wait, Laz, what are you talking about? I said, do the mitzvahs because it's lots of fun. And so Paul says, well, what's a mitzvah? We get the crowd involved. We teach them how to do these different hand signs to this particular song. And okay, so that was our first song. We do 2-3 more songs. We pack up, we leave. It's about 11 o'clock at night. We're walking down Kingston Avenue. Myself, Paul, some of the band members, TJ and Yudi. And we see a group of black teenagers walking about a block away. We're getting closer and closer and closer towards each other. And then now these black teenagers had been to the concert. And we hear them as we get in hearing range before we could see who's who and what's up. What were they doing? They were doing working together is the way to be. That's how we survive through history. Do the mitzvahs because it's lots of fun. The peace will reign and the world will be one. That's what they were saying. They get a little closer to us. They see us and they're like, oh, that's them. That's them. They come running over. They give us hugs and high fives. They ask TJ and Yudi for their autographs because they were like doing these crazy hip hop freestyle dance maneuvers. They asked TJ and Yudi for their autographs, and that is the story. That is the story how we opened up for Gospel Night in Brooklyn, Erev Tisha B'Av, the day before Tisha B'Av in Crown Heights. And so sometimes the easiest thing in the world to say no, right? It's the easiest thing in the world. When we have a lack of knowledge, a lack of appreciation, a lack of love in our hearts, a lack of willingness to think deeper into something, it's always easy to say no. And I was willing to make myself look like an idiot and ask my rabbi, who told me to ask another rabbi, who told me to eventually ask Rabbi Azdaba, who said not only yes, and the Rebbe said not only yes, but said midoraisa, which means there is no question whatsoever. So I wanted to share that story with you on this particular date, and I hope it will be somewhat meaningful for you. It still boggles my mind every time I think about it. I especially think about it now during this time period, and just remember how awesome that Torah is and Torah values are, because it keeps you in a positive state and it enforces this notion that life is good and everyone truly is a spark of the divine. So PEACE, increase the peace. Locally, PEACE, increase the peace. Nationally, PEACE, increase the peace. Universally, PEACA, increase the peace. Internally, PEACE, increase to peace naturally. Increase to peace, y'all.